So, as we get started today, first the towel, if you happen to grab a towel. I have just a regular bath sheet. If you have a thicker towel, that's absolutely okay. In fact, it's probably even cozier and comfier. But we'll fold it in half once, and then again, and then go ahead and roll it. And the tighter you roll it, the more dense it'll be. So think medium tightness, so that it's still got some cushiness to it. So something like that. And then you're going to bring that nearish the top of your mat. And where it's going to go, and I'll demo this and then let you move into the pose, is it's going to go across your upper chest, and then the ends will kind of sink into your armpit slightly. So just giving a little bit of a lift across the upper chest, which gives us more space as we're breathing here this morning. So your towel will go down, and then you can lower down however you like, bringing that in slightly into the armpits and under the armpits. And then your hands can stack, and your forehead can rest on your hands. We're just starting stretched out on the stomach this morning. And just begin to notice how this feels for your body. Notice if there are any little adjustments you can make to let the pose be a little softer. Maybe widen your feet a little bit. Does it feel good to have the knees turned in or out, the feet turned in or out? Does it feel good to rest on a cheek? Do the arms feel uncomfortable here? Would it feel better to bring them down by your hips? Or one arm down by your hips? And then as you settle in, I have a little passage from a beautiful book to share this morning. And I was recently reminded of this book from a teacher of mine out of Santa Fe. And it's a beautiful book called When Things Fall Apart by Pema Charan. And I probably mispronounced her last name. But it's hard advice for difficult times. And it felt right to share a little section from it this morning. So as you breathe, perhaps contemplating, considering the words. And Pema is Buddhist, so this is from a Buddhist perspective, which can be very useful and supportive in whatever spiritual or religious backgrounds that we have. Things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think that the point is to pass the test or overcome the problem, but the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart. Then they come together again and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, for relief, for misery, for joy. When we think that something is going to bring us pleasure, we don't know what's really going to happen. When we think something is going to give us misery, we don't know. Letting there be room for not knowing is the most important thing of all. We try to do what we think is going to help, but we don't know. We never know if we're going to fall flat or sit up tall. When there's a big disappointment, we don't know if that's the end of the story. It may be just the beginning of a great adventure. Life is like that. We don't know anything. We call something bad, we call it good, but really we just don't know. When things fall apart and we're on the verge of what we know, not what, the test for each of us is to stay on that brink and not concretize. The spiritual journey is not about heaven and finally getting to a place that's really swell. In fact, that way of looking at things is what keeps us miserable. Thinking that we can find some lasting pleasure and avoid pain is what is called samsara. Samsara, there we go. A hopeless cycle that goes round and round endlessly and causes us to suffer greatly. The very first noble truth, the Buddha points out that suffering is inevitable for human beings as long as we believe that things last, that they don't disintegrate, that they can be counted on to satisfy our hunger for security. From this point of view, the only time we ever know what's really going on is when the rug's being pulled out and we can't find anywhere to land. We use these situations either to wake ourselves up or to put ourselves to sleep. Right now, in this very instant of groundlessness, is the seed of taking care of those who need our care and of discovering our goodness. So I was rereading sections of this book today. I couldn't help but think that this may be one of those points where we feel like things are falling apart. And the reminder is that maybe they are coming together. And we don't really know. And that's okay. And it's also uncomfortable, which is also okay. So whatever you are experiencing today, allow yourself to observe it, to be with it. Whether there's some physical pain, or something you're thinking about, check in with what mood you're in. And then invite yourself back to right here, right now, breathing in and breathing out. Knowing that all you need to do is be here and breathe. And give yourself permission to do that, and your mind will wander, let it. Notice what comes up. And then gently, with as much grace as you can muster, just bring yourself back to breathing in and out. And see for now, where do you feel your breath? Can you feel the gentle pressure of the breath into the earth, your mat below you? And just the natural breath in this moment. Maybe you feel the breath along the sides of your rib cage. And what about along the spine, the back side of the body? Can you feel your breath there too? Perhaps set an intention for your practice today. What brings you to your mat this morning? In what way can this practice support you today? What do you want to invite more of? Maybe it's a little peace, ease, grace, a little bit of letting go, comfort, feeling grounded, connected. And take another breath or two exactly as you are. And then we'll slowly bring our elbows in under our shoulders. And that towel can stay where it is. It'll just scooch a little bit down the chest. And that's okay. Bring the elbows in under the shoulders. Spread the fingers out and gently plant the hands on the mat. And spread the fingers out like stars. And gently see if you can connect all of the fingertips. Can you feel the fingertips against the mat or floor? Notice the sensations there. And then bring the base of the hands on down to the floor too. Maintain the fingertip connection. Root down through the base of the hand. And then see if you can bring all of the knuckles, each one, the first knuckle joint, the middle one, and the one that connects on the back of the hand, the palm. Keep the base of the hand rooted. And notice how this feels. Now, plant the tops of the feet against your mat. And root down through your elbows. Maybe find a little more lift. Then hug the muscles of your legs against the bones. Maybe your kneecaps slightly lift up here. Root down through your hips. And breathe here. Maintain all the knuckles and fingertips connecting. And visualize in your mind, start to sense what muscles you'll recruit if you were to lift your elbows up off the mat without actually lifting them up. Can you feel the sensations? And then maybe lift the elbow up a tiny little bit and then set it back down. Lift it up again a tiny little bit, so little in fact that you don't see the space between your elbow lifting and the mat. And then back down. Inhale, engage, maybe lift that elbow up a tiny bit. Exhale, releasing it back down. Several more times, and if you want, you can grow the space a little bit, lifting a little higher. Exhale, releasing back down. One more. And then scoot your towel forward, back to the upper chest. Elbows out, hands stacked. The forehead rests on the hands. Then bend the knees with the feet to the air and swing the feet from side to side. Notice the sensations lingering from the movement, where you feel it, along the arms, your shoulders possibly. Find center with the feet and release them down now. And come back to the breath here. And now actively guide your breath so that when you inhale, you feel the front side of the body expand and root, ground, into your mat and the earth. When you exhale, it gently softens. So inhales, expanding like there were 2 balloons in your chest, filling up. Exhales to gently release. And just noticing your reaction to this, how it feels. Letting it grow a little softer and smoother. Whether this feels natural or a little unnatural to you, it's okay. Be with what's there. Expanding and releasing. And on your next inhale, rising up once again, just for a moment. Take the right knee out to the right of the mat, up to hip heights, no higher. If you have a blanket nearby and you want to slide the blanket under the knee for a little cushion, feel free. And then slowly melt back down with the chest, letting the elbows swing out, the towel supporting and tucked in under the armpits and resting the forehead. Breathing here. Noticing how this right side is feeling. And think about sending that right hip, imagining it going just a little bit more toward the earth, and see what you notice. And you feel some muscles engaging here. What is activated? Maybe the glutes? Something around the hip? Another breath or two exactly where you are. And then when you're ready, sliding that right leg long, you might lift up your chest to do so, or you can leave your upper body exactly where it is. And we'll switch to the left side. So as you're ready, you're rising up on the elbows to swing the left leg out, or staying where you are and sliding that left leg out. No higher than up in line with the hip. And again, you can bring in a blanket under the knee for a little extra cushion here. Beginning by noticing how this left side feels. Is it similar or different from the right? One breath at a time. Breathing softly, smoothly, a little bit longer now. Feeling the front side of your body expand and ground into the earth with each inhale. Gently release, soften with each exhale. Practice with that deeper breathing. And slowly send that left leg long now too. And lifting your head up, sliding your towel forward if you had it there. Bring your hands in line with your shoulders, tucking your elbows back, and gently peel yourself up onto hands and knees. Take the knees wide now, letting the toes come toward one another. And sink your hips towards your heels. They do not need to touch your heels. And then take the arms ahead, sinking the forehead down. If the forehead doesn't meet the earth and you have that towel there, you can fold it up and let the forehead rest on it. Or, without a towel, stacking your hands and resting your forehead on your hands. And here to notice the breath. See if you can allow the inhale to expand, the exhale to gently find ease. And be reminded of your intention. Softer, smoother breath. A little bit longer than the natural rhythm. Rising up now. Taking your towel to the top of your mat. Bring the knees in under the hips and the wrists in line with the shoulders, either directly under or a little bit wider. Find what is comfortable, what feels supportive for you. Let the top of your head reach forward. And then we'll move into some cats and cows. So let the stomach sink downward. Lift your tail up and lift your head and heart. And for just this moment, root down through the knuckles, the fingertips, the palms, the base of the hand. Exhaling, reversing this. Maintain the connection with the hands. Tuck the head, the tail, and arch the back upward. So inhales as you release down, lift tail, lift head hard. Exhale, spine to the sky, tucking head, tucking tail. You can add any bits of movement here that feel good. You can maintain exactly what you're doing. Maybe adding some side to side sways with the hips. Just kind of noticing or maybe circling the front of the body round and round one way, round and round the other. Inhale and exhale. Now finding center now. And lift the right hand toward the sky. You might look up toward it or keep your gaze down or out to the side. And then as you exhale, swing that arm underneath and behind the left arm and slowly lower that right shoulder toward the floor. And then when you're ready, inhale, reach it all the way back up again. Exhale, lowering it, threading it behind that left arm bends, lower the right shoulder down. One more, lifting up. And this time when you thread through and behind, maybe lower the right shoulder all the way down. Now, if it doesn't reach or is not comfortable, you have that towel to give you a little lift. Your head can rest on it. Your shoulder can rest on it. Your left arm can stay planted exactly where it is, or you can let it slide out ahead. Or you can even wrap it around your back, letting the palm face the sky. And notice the breath here. Again, see if you can connect to allowing the inhales to expand, the exhales to gently release. Breathing in, breathing out. And wherever that left arm is, bring it down to your mat, planting the hand in front of your gaze. Root down through that palm, and as you inhale, reach the right hand up toward the sky once more. And then slowly exhale and lower that right hand. The left hand's turn. Inhale, reaching the left arm up. Exhaling, threading behind the right arm. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, threading. One more time. Inhale to reach. Exhaling, this time letting that left shoulder come down to the earth or onto the towel. And the right arm, just like the left before, the right arm can stay, can reach overhead, find a comfortable place to land, or it can wrap around your low back if you choose. Breathe here. Softer, smoother, a little bit longer. One breath at a time. Preparing to rise again. Bring the right hand to the mat in front of your eyes, planting it. When you're ready, press through that palm. Inhale, lift the left arm once more toward the sky. Exhale to bring the hand down. sliding your towel toward the top of the mat. Take the knees wide once again. Let the toes connect and sink into a child's pose or option, puppy pose, keeping the hips stacked over the knees here. Taking the arms forward and sinking the chest toward the mat here. Letting the forehead find a place of contact, whether it's on your towel or on the mat itself. Breathing softer, smoother, a little bit longer. When you're ready, rising up to tabletop. And now making your way onto your back. If you have that towel handy or a blanket, it can be a little pillow behind your head. If you have a warm beverage and want to take a sip before making your way onto your back, give yourself permission to do so. Once you're on your back, hug your knees towards your chest. You can wrap your arms around the fronts or backs of the legs, or you can even let your arms just rest on the floor today. Breathing softly, smoothly, a little bit longer. Can you connect to that expansive breath here? Imagining balloons filling with each inhale, gently emptying with each exhale. Now find center and start to circle the ankles. You can take your knees a little bit wider from one another. Circling one side, circling the other, both at the same time. Just exploring the movement of the ankles. Be pointing and flexing the feet. Notice if you're holding extra tension in the shoulders and see if you can let them settle down just a little bit more to the earth. And soften the ankles and find stillness. Bring the hands to cup your knees and slowly begin to stir the knees open and around. Whatever size circles you want here, taking the knees open and away, and then forward, and then back toward one another before coming back toward your torso. So you can do this holding or allowing just the muscles of the legs to find their movement. Inhaling, opening and around, exhaling as the knees come back toward one another and your torso. whenever you're ready, reverse directions. Breathing softer and smoother, a little bit longer. Eventually meeting back at center, maybe rocking on your back, side to side or up and down the length of the spine. Bring your hands to the backs of your thighs, or again the arms can rest down and the leg muscles can do the work here. When you're ready, slowly reaching your heels toward the ceiling, straightening the legs just until you feel a stretch. Exhales to gently bend the knees. Let the breath guide the movement so that when you inhale, you're reaching up. Exhaling to gently bend. With your breath. Once more, reaching up. And this time as you bend the knees, let the feet come all the way down to your mat, to the earth. Lift and lower your hips. And then cross the right ankle over the left thigh. And let the right knee tip open to the right. You can use your hand here for support. You can add rocking side to side here, keeping the shoulders anchored. Another option is to lift and lower with that left foot. If you want to hold the lift, you could reach one or both hands to that left leg, to the right knee. Here too you can add rocking, exploring this figure 4 pose and see what supports you, what your body is needing in this moment today. And breathe. Softer. Smoother. A little bit longer. Slowly finding center, unwinding the legs, letting the feet connect to the floor. Root into the heels, lift the hips up just an inch and back down just to realign. And then prepare for the left side, the left ankle across the right thigh. The left knee tips open to the left hand can support this. You can add the rocking side to side here. You can add the lifts and lowers with the right foot. You can hold the right foot lifted and support it with one or both hands. And see what serves this left side, how it's similar or different from the right, or from other times that maybe you've explored this pose before. What do you notice today in this moment? finding center, releasing to the earth. Press into the heels, lift and lower. And then send the legs long for a moment to notice a little mini Savasana. What do you feel? What do you sense on the right side, the left side? Checking in, how are you? Physically, mentally. What's here for you? And then the next breath or two, once again, bending knees and planting feet about hip distance apart. Think of the front of your hip versus the outside. The knees will stay pointing straight up. The hands will come down by the hips, palms down. Rooting through the heels and slowly peeling the hips up an inch or more. You determine how high you lift the hips today. As you exhale, slowly lower the glutes back down and completely release the muscles. Soften before beginning again. So rooting down through heels, inhales, lifting the hips up. See if you can lift them up evenly versus leaning to the right or left, and maintain the knees pointing toward the ceiling. Exhale when you're ready to float back down. Following your breath now, rising and sinking maybe 2 or 3 more times, or maybe holding at the top and breathing. And seeing what you notice today. What do you feel physically in the body? When you're ready to meet the earth, gently glue the low back against the floor. And then as you inhale, let the ribs lift up. Let the low back arch up off the mat as much as it will as you tip the tailbone toward the floor. Keep the hips glued down. Exhale, the low back will press into the mat. Inhale to find that little bridge under the back. Back and forth now with your breath. And slowly let your spine find its neutral position. Inhale, toe the feet to the width of the mat. The toes can spill off. Let the heels stay on and open your arms out to your sides. Inhaling here. Exhaling, letting the knees tip to one side or the other. Inhale back to center and exhale, tipping the other way. Breathing in and breathing out. it feels good to pause with the knees, tip to the right or left. Give yourself permission to pause there, to take a couple of breaths in and out. Maybe turn the gaze in the opposite direction of the knees. Breathing softly, smoothly, a little bit longer. And when you're ready, if you've held, moving to the opposite side. Eventually coming back to center and checking in with yourself. Is there any other movement that would feel good, whether repeating something from earlier or hugging the knees to the chest? Maybe there's another pose you would like to bring into the practice in this moment. Or maybe you're ready for your final resting and you want to make yourself comfortable. Take these next several moments for you. There's not a right or wrong. And we'll meet together in our final resting, whether that's on your back or curled up in another pose. Maybe it would feel good to come back onto the front side of the body how we began. Eventually settling in and being and breathing for the next several minutes, allowing the natural rhythm to return. Nowhere else you need to be. Nothing else you need to be doing. Gently begin to guide yourself back to the space with your breath, with subtle movement, and choosing whether to remain on your back for a breath or two more, or maybe curl up on your side. And be reminded of your intention, what you're inviting in, and considering in what ways this practice can continue to support you. When you're ready, rise on up to seated, where we'll meet with hands at the heart. Jolyn, I thank you for joining us today, for sharing a little bit of your day with us, for this time together to be and breathe. And during this time of unknown, of unrest, may we continue to meet on our mats, to find a little clarity, moments of peace, to fill our hearts with wisdom and serenity. As always, it's an honor to be here with you. Namaste. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and we will be on tomorrow evening, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm kind of laughing because time is kind of becoming a little bit less meaningful in these days. But we will be here with Slow Flow, so a little bit more movement and a little strengthening work going on as well. So if that sounds appealing to you, we'll be here. As always, any way that you can contribute and support us during this time, whether that's financially, you can find those links in the description, or if it's with a like, a share, a review on Facebook. We appreciate all of this. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please reach out. We're here to support you any way we can. Thank you so much.